Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Hey, if you're celebrating Halloween this year, I hope you have a good time. Happy Halloween to everybody. But if you are celebrating, be sure to be safe. Just because you're dressed like a zombie does not mean you can't be killed. So whatever you do, be safe out there and continue to live to eat some more brains another day. Today I'm going to tell you about 5 things you don't need to get into Cambodia or to live here, despite what some people might be saying. Some of these things you might want to consider though, and under certain circumstances they might be necessary for your purposes, but they are not required by Cambodia for you to enter or live here. And we'll talk about all that, of course. But I want to remind you that I have books for sale, and they are all down at the link in the description. So if you want to read any of the books that you happen to see on your screen right now, click that link and go ahead and purchase one or all 5. It's up to you. And if you want to help a brother out, you want to help the channel out, it's very much appreciated, and you can donate through PayPal or Ko-Fi.com. Let's make this a November to remember. And we can get to our goal of $250. And I'm checking my list and checking it twice. And anybody between now and Christmas that donates is going to receive something from me for your holiday season. I'll get more into details on that later in the month, but trust me, it's something I hope you'll all enjoy. And all you got to do is clicky the linkies down below for PayPal or Ko-Fi. Donate something and you'll get your stuff. And we always appreciate it, of course. Alright, so the first thing you do not need to enter or live in Cambodia is health insurance. There was a recent post on a forum. Somebody wanted to know what documents they needed to come into Cambodia long term, and somebody mentioned they needed health insurance, which of course was quickly contested by other commenters there. Yeah, you do not need health insurance to enter Cambodia or to live in Cambodia. Now, health insurance is something you might want to consider depending on your health and depending on your circumstances. You can just Google expat health insurance in Cambodia and you'll get all kinds of options. It'll keep you busy for hours and hours and hours. There's a lot of information out there, a lot of places. But you do not need it. It's not required by Cambodia for you to come into the country or to live here long term. So I'm not saying you shouldn't get it. And I know people like to freak out about that sometimes. I'm just saying that is not a requirement. During the pandemic, it was a requirement at one point, along with quarantine and proof of vaccination, but none of those things are required now. So if you read anything saying you need proof of health insurance to come to Cambodia, you do not. I just wanted to get that one out of the way. The second thing you do not need to enter Cambodia or to live here is a criminal background check. Again, like with health insurance, is one of those things you might want and you might wind up needing depending on why you're coming to Cambodia. There are some, if you're coming here to work, some employers might require a criminal background check. As far as schools go, there are a few I've heard that do require that, but they're few and far between. Each international school is independently owned and operated. They all have different rules. There's no one size fits all. But for the most part, you will not be required to show one. However, if that's your situation and you think, well, maybe it's better to be safe than sorry, I should probably get one, that's fine. My advice to you would be to get it before you come here. Go ahead and grab it, make some copies, bring them with you, because it's much easier to get it in your home country than it would be trying to do it when you're miles and miles and miles away from home, having to deal with all the hassle of international correspondence and all that. So yeah, you do not need a criminal background check to come to Cambodia or to live in Cambodia, although it might be required for certain circumstances. So that's going to depend on your reason for coming over here. If you're coming here to retire, that's not required. It's not necessary. Everything is fine. I just wanted to let people know that because, again, it's one of those things where sometimes it gets mentioned that you need that when you extend your visa, but you do not. So I just thought I would tell you guys that. Now, the third thing you do not need to enter Cambodia or to live here is a proof of return flight on your from the airline. Now, this one's tricky because this more depends on the airline's policies than Cambodia's policy. Cambodia does not require you to show a return flight, and they don't require you to have a date when you're going to leave. You don't need it to get in. They're not going to ask you for it. You don't need it to live here to extend your visa. They're not going to ask you for it. But again, check with the airline you chose to make sure you don't need one before you come here. Even if you're coming here just one way, you don't plan on going back. Some airlines have policies and they might require you to show proof of a return flight. There are places you can go where you can get your proof of a return flight, but it's not a real ticket. I think you pay like 10, 20 bucks or something. It's a one-time thing, just something to show people in case that comes up. And of course you don't get your money back, but it's not a real plane ticket anyway. It's just something to show people, show the airlines in case they give you a hassle there. But I would definitely check with the airline you choose before you get on that plane or get to the airport and then they say, well, we can't take you because you don't have this particular ticket. Somebody left me a comment recently where they had to purchase a ticket right there at the airport just so they could get on their flight. And yeah, nobody needs a hassle like that. So be sure to check with your airlines. But as far as Cambodia goes, you do not need a round trip ticket. You do not need proof of a return flight or have an exit strategy, I guess you can say, to come into the country or to live here. So keep that in mind. Check with your airline before you book a flight. And also keep in mind, I get this question occasionally. You do not need proof of income to enter Cambodia or to live in Cambodia to retire. You are never going to be asked to show proof of income. You're not going to be asked to show a bank statement that you have so much money in your bank or any other financial documents. Now, there are circumstances where you will have to show proof of a certain amount of income under certain conditions. One of those is if you're a foreigner and you come here to Cambodia and you want to marry a local in Cambodia. Part of that process is to be able to show that you are making a certain amount of money each month. You have to be able to prove that. The last time I checked, I'm not sure right now, but the last time I checked, I believe that amount per month was $2,500. That you had to show you're making at least that much from somewhere. You had to have that much income at least coming in before you were able to marry a local in Cambodia as a foreigner. But otherwise, for most other circumstances, 99% of circumstances, you do not need to show any kind of proof of income or bank statements or anything like that. I know sometimes people say that if you want to come here to retire, you have to show that you're making at least $1,500 a month or $2,000 a month. And no, again, it's one of those things that might be good to have if you do have income coming in every month like that, to have that documentation ready for certain very uncommon circumstances. But as far as just to fly here, enter the country, retire here, work here, no. That is not a requirement. So if anybody tells you that, they're probably mistaken. Because a lot of these things get relayed from web pages from a long time ago. So if you're searching for information on Cambodia, be sure to check the date of the page you're looking at. There are pages out there from 2000, 2012, 2016, and things have changed a lot. Rules and regulations do change. Sometimes we don't even hear about them until after they're after they're over. But things change, and there is a lot of older information floating around out there. But yeah, you do not need proof of income for the majority of people, unless you're under those specific uncommon circumstances here in Cambodia. And the last thing you do not need before coming to Cambodia or to live in Cambodia is an international driver's license. If you plan on coming here and driving, buying a motorbike or buying a car or some other form of transportation, Cambodia does not recognize international driver's licenses. If you're driving anything on the road, currently the rule is if you're driving anything on the road that's above 125 cc, any kind of vehicle above 125 cc, you do need to get a Cambodian driver's license. You will have to take a test for that and pay the appropriate fees and all that, depending on your vehicle size and some other things, but that's for another day. But yeah, you do not need an international driver's license. Now, if you're just coming here maybe for 3 months and then you're going to other countries that do accept international driver's licenses, then you might want to get one before you leave, because it's easier to get one before you leave, of course, than it is once you're in another country. But you certainly don't need it to come here. You certainly don't need it to live here. And currently, you do not need one to drive. That might be changing. They might require Cambodian driver's licenses for any vehicle, no matter the size. That's being talked about. But right now, as it stands, if it's 125 cc or below, you do not need a license. And if you look around, you see all these kids, 12, 13 years old, zipping around on these on these motorbikes everywhere around here. Yeah, you don't need one. But even if you did need one, you would need a Cambodian driver's license. So you don't have to worry about the other one. Unless, of course, you want to get one. All right. So there's 5 things you do not need to come to Cambodia or to live in Cambodia. I hope that helps some people out. There are questions every so often. And be sure to check out all my links down below. Like I said, I have PayPal and Ko-Fi down there. Your support is very much appreciated. You can buy my books, check out my other channel, Horror Reads, and check out all the other vloggers vlogging from this part of the world. There are links down below for all those awesome channels, and you should definitely check them out. All right. We are down here at the Old Market in Siem Reap, Cambodia, and I will talk to you guys in the next one as we look at this amazing, amazing fresh seafood. Yummy.